In December of 2009, a report is issued by the International People's Tribunal on Human Rights and Justice in Indian Administered Kashmir called Buried Evidence: Unknown, Unmarked, and Mass Graves in Indian Administered Kashmir. This is the first documentation of mass graves in different parts of Kashmir. This caused, I think, such consternation with the state government that they actually appointed their own commission to investigate this, because it was just so incriminating. And that report was issued in 2011, basically corroborating the findings of this independent commission 2 years earlier. What's the significance of the mass graves, and how is that connected to the many thousands who have gone missing in Kashmir?
Well, even before this report came out, which was much more, organized and much more elaborate, the APDP, Association for the Parents of the Disappeared Persons in Kashmir, had issued a report before this one, and they are the people who are really trying to find the whereabouts of their kith and kin who are the enforced disappearances. But the government did not pay attention to that at all. But this report was, it really, the second report coming in immediately after that forced the government to do this. And they appointed these policemen and the police officers on this commission who corroborated and found around 2,750, graves, near line of control in the first batch. And they began to immediately do the, exhume them, forensics, and they found 579 of them were locals, which refuted the governmental charge that all these people were foreign militants who had crossed the line of control to fight Indian forces. But then after that, the government also found, this State Human Rights Commission found around 3,000 graves in other southern districts like Poonch and Rajouri. But if you look at it, all across Kashmir, there are these, unmarked graves, which are very distinct from other graves in Kashmir. There are two other kinds of graves. One are the unmarked graves, but they are in communally owned, graveyards. People know who are buried in them. And then there are martyrs' graveyards, who are people who are commemorated by the Kashmiris as, martyrs for the freedom struggle. So all of these are known who they are, but these are very distinct types of graves in which many of the graves contain more than 2 or 3 bodies. So, it's very likely that the 8 to 10,000 people who have disappeared might have ended up in these graves.
The Association of the Parents of Disappeared Persons is part of the coalition of civil society, and I think Pravina Ahangar is the kind of the main spokesperson for that group. Now, I just wanted to contrast that with the kind of attention that was paid to, as it should have been in the United States, to the mothers of Plaza de Mayo in Argentina, where there was widespread protests about the people who had been disappeared during the Dirty War in the 1970s. Again, Kashmir drops below the radar screen in terms of the international media.
Yes, definitely. And APDP they have been organizing these regular weekly protests, in Srinagar for last many, many years, almost more than a decade. And every Thursday or Friday, they meet in a park called Pratap Park and seek the whereabouts of their kith and kin. But yes, it has not received any sort of attention internationally. Very few organizations have sought to look out for these people and find out what work they're doing. Yes.
I think I could say with confidence that the New Delhi government is extremely sensitive about the issue of Kashmir, hypersensitive. Almost Kashmir is to India what Tibet is to China. It becomes almost an existential issue, very visceral and right in the solar plexus. What is it about Kashmir, unlike, let's say, Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or Manipur or other areas of conflict and resistance in India that so makes the Indian government acutely sensitive and anxious?
Well, one is the very real possibility that Kashmir could become an independent state and secede from India, In cases like Chhattisgarh and elsewhere, the people who are struggling there, they're not seeking separation from India. And so those questions could be solved internally. Kashmir has an international dimension, not only because UN already recognizes it as an unsolved dispute, but also because more than one state is involved. It's a question of sovereignty which is involved here. I in fact like the analogy that you gave the other day about Kashmir resembling Algeria in a certain sense, its relationship with France, because compared to, let's say, Tunisia and Morocco, French had kind of assimilated Algeria as one of the provinces, but the people there were treated as second-grade subjects. In the same way, India has assimilated the territory, but they have not been able to assimilate the people because the people themselves do not want to be assimilated, into the Indian nation. And India keeps on passing these unilateral, declarations and resolutions in its parliament saying Kashmir is an integral part of India. But obviously, neither does this claim have any international validity, nor does it have any authority in the eyes of the Kashmiris.
What role do resources play, particularly water, in India's interest in staying in Kashmir? Because on the surface of it, why would a state expend a huge amount of money, station 700,000 security forces to repress a population that doesn't want to be part of them? I mean, that seems to be like a very big price to pay. What's the economic interest for New Delhi?
Well, I think that India looks potentially at hydroelectricity as one of the major resources that could be extracted from Kashmir. In 1962, there was an international agreement between India and Pakistan on water sharing. There are majorly 6 rivers that flow from India into Pakistan. Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab that go from Kashmir to Pakistan. And then in Punjab, there is Ravi, Bias, and Satluj that also flow into Pakistani Punjab. In 1962, India and Pakistan decided that the 3 rivers that flow from Kashmir, their water will be used by Pakistanis. And the 3 rivers that are in Punjab, Indian Punjab, they will be used by India. And in this agreement, Kashmiris obviously were not taken into confidence. But since then, India has continued to build these massive, hydroelectric projects, and all this electricity now goes to the NHPC, which is the National Hydro Power Corporation, and basically gives electricity to the industrializing India and stuff. Kashmiris themselves do not get electricity from these projects. And so that's one major resource which perhaps, in my view, keeps India tied to Kashmir. But other than that, I think the reasons are very nationalistic. In India, there's a class of people in India who want to continue to ratchet up this nationalist discourse because, as Arundhati Roy has pointed out multiple times, that it helps, this elite class of Indians to not provide any attention to its own teeming, poor millions, and so nationalism is used and jingoism is used to basically consolidate its own position in the same way as Pakistani military has done in Pakistan.